I don't know. I don't know. It feels very high octane for what feels like it might be a little bit of a low energy vibe today. How are you, mate? How are you doing?
Yeah, all good, all good. As you say there, not as exciting to talk about after that game over the weekend, but should still be a good show nonetheless.
So we're recording this on a Tuesday, and I feel like straight after the game, I was like, oh, but do you know what? Actually, straight after the game, as soon as the full-time whistle went, they started playing Wallace and Gromit, and I was like,
yeah,
oh, do you know what? Actually, life isn't that bad. It's actually all right, isn't it? Put it into context, it's not too bad. I was pissed off during the game. I think I don't think the second goal was offside. It was the first goal was annoying, but no one did anything particularly wrong apart from the throw being given the wrong way. I kind of just felt a bit like, oh, that's annoying, but they were a good team. Ultimately, they were a good team.
Yeah, they were. I mean, I think to be honest, the second half just killed us off. I think first half it was a sort of similar thing we've seen all season. We were competitive, we were in the game, but we just didn't look like scoring. That was the main sort of problem. Preston didn't really threaten us in the first half, really. The defence kept going, but they looked threatening. I mean, they did look threatening going forward. They looked more likely to score, but our defence just held out. And then whatever happened in the second half, I don't know. We just come out a different team, and they just kept piling on the pressure. First goal was unlucky with the deflection. Of course, it was going to be Thierry. We knew that was going to happen. Yeah.
And then, as soon as the fans started getting on his back, I was like, "Don't do that, for God's sake!" It's the one thing that he's going to use to try. Because in the first half, he was like squiddly diddly. His balls were going all over the place. He was crossing it off the pitch. I was like, "There's the Thierry we know and love."
Yeah.
But he always gets that one moment where he does something great. He did it for us, and he absolutely killed us off.
Yeah, you just knew it would happen. You knew it happened. The fans getting on his back and that, and I know a lot of people made a lot of noise. The fact he celebrated, but I mean, look, he's got every right to give it back. Exactly, like 100%. He's got every right to give it back.
Yeah, like he'd been giving it to him all game. Like it was the loudest I think we were, and ultimately, like when we lost him, I was like, oh, that's a bit disappointing because he's been really good, but he hadn't played all game, every game in like the 6 games leading up to it. It wasn't like he was like number 1 on the team sheet or anything. Jones wasn't playing him every minute, and he was fine in the final. I don't think he did anything that incredible, whatever. And then as soon as Rabab to come in, and we were all going, "Oh, Thierry Small who?" sort of thing. And then you get Brie on top of that, and you're like, "Bloody hell!" Like we really have leveled up. You can't be annoyed at him for going away. He's obviously got more money, I would assume. Money's something I wanted to touch on today because I found a couple of stats that I found really interesting. But overall, I just didn't think it was like. I don't think we can be that upset with that result after the run we've had, really.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I mean, ultimately we still had a great start. We're like mid-table, 3 wins, 3 draws, 3 defeats. That's not a terrible run, is it? I think, and also that's probably the first time this season where we can probably sit there and go, yeah, we were the second best on the pitch there because Preston were better than us. They were a good side. They were well organised. They were well drilled going forward as well, and they deserved the 3 points. That's probably the first time we can sit there and go, yeah, a team outplayed us. I mean, the QPR game you could argue, but I still think 3-1 was a harsh scoreline. I think, I mean, they're playing well at the moment as well. And I think we were talking when we recorded the Chronicles, we were sitting there going, the 3 sides that we've lost to this season are in the top 6. So we can't exactly be disheartened by that because they're good sides. We've lost to good opposition and we've been competitive in most games. So I think I was like you. I was pissed off after the game, mainly with the forward line because we didn't look creative at all. We didn't look like we could hit a barn door. But yeah, I think generally we can still be happy with the start we've had. It was slightly frustrating, but we'll live and we'll move on, I think.
It's the same thing. We got a bit of stick, actually. We had a few interesting comments on the YouTube last one we did. But that debate has been going on. I've heard people talking about it on Charlton Live, and I've heard a lot of people. There's people absolutely defending the 2 up top. There's people going, there is no way they should keep starting. But the one stat that someone said on, I can't remember what show it was they haven't scored. Yeah, and that's our 2 strikers, and they've started every game and they haven't scored yet. And you go,
that's what people are going to focus on the most now. Like regardless of performance, it will get to the point where that is the only stat that matters. Ultimately, they're being paid to score goals and they're not scoring. The thing is, the performances. I mean, like Kelman's performances have been very good. He's played really well in the last few games he's grown into it. And it annoyed me against Preston because he was doing the job that TC should have been doing. In that he was drifting 100%. Wide and putting the balls in the box. Yeah, should have been the other way around. TC frustrated me because he just wasn't. I didn't see him get involved in the game at all where he is.
No.
You can actually see Kelman is trying. So that, I mean, that partnership doesn't work. That's the reality. It doesn't work. And I would much rather, I think we've said it, like do it in reverse. Start Leeburn and Tanto and then bring them on and see if they can make a difference then when the defence is knackered. But it's clear that partnership doesn't work. TC doesn't get close to Kelman at all. He limits the way Kelman plays. We limit the way Kelman plays because we isolate him. And then against Preston, he somehow became the creative outlet that TC was supposed to be. And that's what frustrated me the most from it.
This is the issue with not knowing what Jones is telling them. Because if he's telling them that both of them need to stretch the team, and then if it goes up the right-hand side, Kelman goes into that pocket and crosses it in for TC. And if it's on the left-hand side, TC does the same thing. You go, right, that's actually a really good system, because the defense don't know what they're playing against. They both can finish. Kelman obviously a lot more prolific than TC.
Yeah.
But maybe that's what was happening, and they're just not getting the balls that they need. But then what do? Do you blame the midfield? Because no one's like, Carey wasn't quite as potent as he was the game before, but Doc was, I think that was one of Doc's best games. Like, seems to keep saying that this season. Just every game, he just seems to go, bloody hell, why did we ever doubt him? Like, Docky and Coventry just seem to be brilliant. So then is it they're not getting the support from the wide areas? I don't know. But, you know, you look at it as a bit of a layman, and it just looks like they aren't scoring. They're your first two strikers. Alafe scored one. Just switch Campbell and Alafe. Maybe just switch the starting, because he seems to not want to bring on, no matter what's going on. He still doesn't seem to want to bring on Alafe before like 15 minutes left to go. It was still in that game. I don't think he came on till that time, did he? Like,
he came on with like 20 odd minutes to go. I think he made very little sort of impact. I was quite surprised, to be fair, that he hooked TC off, I think, at 55. Yeah. That really surprised me. I was like, blimey, I didn't expect him to come off that early when Leeburn come on.
Yeah, it sort of, I don't know if it changed the game, because obviously they scored another one after that, didn't they? Actually, they scored right after that, didn't they? As soon as
they scored after Leeburn come on, and then he made the triple change. That's when Tanto come on straight after they scored, and then they scored again.
And I don't know, what did you think of the goal? Because some people, Brownie said it in the commentary, Ramsey's handling Small really well down that wing, but only it's going to take one chance for him to come away the win, for Small to come away the hero.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what happened. I mean, for me, I looked at that starting lineup and I was like, all right, I get it. You know, I heard afterwards that Bell was injured.
Yeah.
So that makes sense that he's not starting, but it did seem odd to then disrupt kind of where Ramsey's. Oh, no, the wrong one. I've done it again. It did kind of surprise me that they're saying it's up. There we go. It did surprise me that they've moved Ramsey out of his position that he's been playing so well, and not even move him out to the right hand side where Bree is. When that's where he started with us, isn't it? He started on that far right side when he first came into the club. And I get you're not going to move Bree because he's had 4 goal contributions in 3 games. That's ridiculous for a right back. Of course it is. Yeah. But for me, I just thought, maybe is there an opportunity to maybe keep Ramsey on the right hand side, bring Apter onto the left hand side? Is it just that Apter just isn't as good defensively? But it felt like you were putting 2 players out of position rather than just one, because Ramsey's playing on the left-hand side, which we've not really seen him do before. And Burke comes in, and it's not like Burke's ever done a bad job for us when he's played. But, you know, I just felt like Apter had been such a good player for us. That was a really simple opportunity to go, right, keep Ramsey where he is and just put Apter in for Bell, because that's where he's played left-hand side before.
Yeah, I think this was the game that was crying out for Apter, to be honest. I mean, he was our player of the month in August, and then since then he hasn't played a single minute. He hasn't even come off the bench. So I don't know what's happened at all. But I do think this game cried out for him, you know, to start on that left-hand side and make a difference. And, you know, whether that be come on or even starting. I was surprised. Well, it's a difficult one because, I mean, it's the selection headache that Jones has with this team. Like, you know, he's tried to do something that he felt was going to work and it didn't. He's obviously tried to put Ramsey on the left to, you know, deal with Small because he knows how he plays. And I felt it was a difficult game for Ramsey, to be fair. I think, to be honest, since that Millwall red card, I think we've noticed a different player. I think it has quite affected him because I think he hasn't been as good. It's not to say he's been poor, far from it. But he's not been as good as we know he can be, I think, since that red card. And yeah, I do agree, to be fair. I mean, Burke's not put a foot wrong, but I guess, you know, in that position, I mean, we talk about Apter not being good defensively, but he played in Bree's position, and that's what he won Player of the Month for. You know, he can, you know, defensively he's not, you know, we know defensively he's not great because he's a winger, you know, but I think offensively is where he showed his strengths. You know, he can move the ball forward. He puts balls in the box at every opportunity, which is fantastic. That's what we've been crying out for. It's what Small failed to do, really. So, yeah, I think there was an opportunity there to stick Apter on the left. And, you know, if we're going to play Ramsey, stick him in at right centre-back next to Bree, where Ramsey's been playing so well up until he got sent off against Millwall. So it's a difficult one. It's you know, that's the headache that Jones has. But he's tried to, you know, you can see why he put Ramsey on the left to deal with Small, but ultimately it didn't work.
It's so hard because I'm not going to doubt anything Jones does. Like, but I guess that's what makes football interesting, isn't it? You've all got
that's what he gets paid to do.
Yeah, and we've all got our own opinions. We watch that team every week. We can see, but you're not seeing what they're doing in training. But it does, with no explanation on why Apter's just dropped out of the team completely. I know, obviously, he really likes Bree. You can see it, and you can see why. But to not give Apter, like, what I don't understand is if you've got Leeburn coming on, who's a big lump, who you know, he's not as good as, he's a sort of Peter Crouch, isn't he? He's good in the air, but he's not as good as he should be considering his height. Like, not to, when he comes on and Alafe comes on, not to think, right, okay, now let's get a more attacking player on that can put balls in the box that these two are going to compete for. It just seems weird. It just seems like that's just such a logical thing to do. But like I said, you can't doubt Jones. I don't think anyone is doubting Jones at all. It's just frustrating, and it kind of comes on to where we are in the table. Because for me, like, we're sort of victims of our own success. Like, when we went up, I think we said it before. The only thing I wanted to do was make sure that we're not going to get relegated, just stay in the league. But since that's happened, we've kind of been so close in the games that we've lost, and we won a lot of games and we've drawn a lot of games, that you start to think, right, well, maybe an extra 5%, we could have won those games and then we could be second or third. So we just, is that what's happened? Have our expectations just got way too high? Have we just far beyond, like, realistically, are we just asking for something that's never going to be there?
I think Preston was a reality check, because I think before that game, expectations had got very high. And because, I mean, if you think about it, like, we were 8th at one point. You look at the point, I mean, hindsight, you look at the points that we've dropped. I mean, Bristol City, we arguably could have got a win, but that was a very tight game. Draw was probably fair. Leicester, we should have won, which we completely battered Leicester, and they got a win off a wonder goal. QPR, fair enough. We'll probably give it the 3 points there because we fell apart in the second half. Millwall, we should have won, so that's another 2 points dropped. Derby, arguably, we could have won that as well. So that's, again, another 2 points. So if you look at it that way, that's a lot of points that we have dropped. And so, you know, I mean, we have been close in those games. You know, we have been very close, and we've proved that we are here to stay in this league. But Preston, for me, I felt was a bit of a reality check, in that not every game is going to be like that. We're going to have games where we're going to be second best. We're going to be second to every ball. That's just football. That's just what's going to happen. And ultimately, every Charlton fan's expectation going into the season, even before we spent 10 million and all these players come in, was stay in the league. And it should still be that now. I mean, where we are now, 13th, I think we'd absolutely be laughing with that if we finished there. Because everyone writ us off to get relegated. I'd be happy with 13th personally. I'd be happy if we finished lower than that. I mean, yeah, but it wouldn't be nice being dragged into the relegation battle considering the start we've had. But the same thing happened the last time we was in the Championship. We started this strong, and then it fell apart, and then we got relegated. So I think it's important that we don't let expectations get too high. But I think that, I mean, look, the potential for me is there to finish round about where we are now, round about the mid-table position. I do think there's potential to do it. There's some issues for me, notably the attack. I think that will become a problem if things don't improve. But the reality is, we have got to be realistic about where we are. And the reality is we are going to be fighting in every game this season. We've been competitive, but Preston for me was a reality check. And I think round about where we are now, and probably perhaps a bit lower, kind of where, I don't know, where Birmingham and Southampton are. And that's a false position. They shouldn't be where they are. But I reckon roundabout sort of there and where we are now is probably realistic in terms of what this team is capable of, in my opinion.
It's exciting. I mean, how do you feel going? Like, do you feel like this, based on we needed a reality check, based on, like, now having a couple of weeks on the training ground, Do you think the international breaks come at the right time? Because we didn't think that after the last one. It's mental to think we're only in October and we've already had 2 international breaks. That's ridiculous. I don't know how that happens.
We got another one coming in November, I think, as well, which is ridiculous.
It's insane what they're doing. Like, just no one cares. No one's watching it. Leave it. Just leave it. We're enjoying this. But actually, I do think it's because they all one thing that someone said, and I didn't agree when I was watching the game, but maybe it makes sense, is that they were just knackered. Like, maybe they're just knackered. Like two long trips up north in a week, and you're not getting the chance to train. And I mean, they're professional footballers getting paid a lot of money, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just knackered. Maybe they were just knackered in that game. Didn't look it, but do you know what I mean? Maybe that was just part of it. So do you reckon we got this international break at the right time?
Yeah, I think we have. I think some of them. I mean, you could tell. I mean, I can't get my words out. I think knackered. You know, that could be a factor. It could be, but I think the international break is a good time to, rest, reset, recuperate, think what went wrong. Just look at Preston as a one-off and be like, right, forget that happened. Let's just go again in 2 weeks' time. Obviously, there's still the issue of players going on international duty. I mean, I think Bell got called up for Jamaica. So did TC. So that could be a problem in terms of Bell. How serious is that? No, I mean, I think he had a sore calf, so I don't think it's too serious. I mean, he come off the bench for God's sake, so it can't be that serious. TC's the big one for me because we've seen that Jones just won't drop him, and even when he goes on international duty and he's getting minutes for Jamaica, he's coming back and he's starting games again. And I think that was the issue we had last year as well, where Jones just overworked him to the point where he eventually broke down. He had an injury, and then that was when he come out of the team. And I think it's an opportunity for those sort of players to rest and protect a few players and, as I said, reset, because ultimately I think the big problem for me was the attack. I think we just need to figure out what's going on there. We need to work out how to score goals from the forward line. It's nice that we're getting goals from other areas of the pitch like Bree and Carey, and they're starting to score, but the forward line is the most important area that needs to be scoring, and at the moment it's not. So I think this does come at the right time. We just get the opportunity to just forget about Preston, just move on, and then go into what is another tough period, because we come back from the international break and come straight into 3 games in a week again, and all 3 of them are tough games. So it's going to be very interesting to see. It'll be telling how we react to it. I think that's the main point I'm looking at. How are we going to react to this defeat after an international break with 3 games on the spin and tough games as well?
What would you change? What would be your starting lineup for the next one? Because I mean, ultimately we've kept going on about it. TC and Kelman. Would you leave? What would you do? Would you leave the rest of them the same? Would you just change up top, or what would you do?
It's tough. It's tough, isn't it? Because well, the big one for me is the forward line. That needs to change. I think that's just end of. There has to be a change. I know Jones gets paid money to make these decisions, and he's obviously stubborn. He knows what system he works, and he trusts these players, which is good. If he's got these trust in these players, that's great with the confidence. But ultimately, 9 games into a championship season and only 1 goal scored from the strikers, and that striker isn't starting, that's a problem. That's not enough at all. So there needs to be a change. For me, I wouldn't mind if Kelman stays in the team, to be honest, because I think his performances have been well. And I think with the right strike partner, he will score. And once he scores, I think he'll go on a run. But then again, he's not exactly undroppable either. So I wouldn't mind if we went with Leeburn and Tanto. I wouldn't mind if we went with Tanto or Kelman, Leeburn or Kelman, any sort of combination. And not to mention, Matty Godden, it could be coming back as well. So he could get
He's back in training, isn't he? What's the story? Do you know anything about that?
I'm not sure. I think he's in training, but I mean, to be fair, I don't think he'll be thrown straight back into the deep end. It'd be unfair to do that. He'll be on the bench. If we throw him in starting, then it shows how big of a problem we've got. But yeah, I mean, the forward line's got to change in some way or another. And for me, definitely TC should be coming off the bench and trying to make an impact. I don't think he should be starting, in my opinion. And then with the rest of the team, I mean, the midfield 3 don't change. That's been phenomenal all season. Doc's been outstanding. Coventry, usual self. Carey's been excellent. But then you come to the back 5. I mean, you don't take Bree out, do you? You don't take Jones out. You don't take Kaminsky out. And then the other 3 is sort of, I don't know, it's tough because Burke's been playing well, but then Ramsey, again, has probably been better across the season in that position. Then again, since Millwall's red card, I don't think he's been the same player. So there's an argument for Ramsey not to get back in. Gillespie's played well since he's got his shot in the team. But then Bell's been playing so well. And then with Edwards being injured, we're now playing Bell as a wing-back. But it's clear that Bell is not as effective as a wing-back than he is at left centre-back. So that's the problem that we've got at the minute. It's like, what do you kind of cut and change?
It's so confusing, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, what nice problems to have. But
such a massive headache.
Because it could just be as simple as, just drop Leeburn, put Leeburn in for Campbell, and just do that. I'd like to see Ramsey drop back in where he was and take Burke out, and just leave and put Black Abter on the left,
Yeah.
just to make it a bit more attacking, few more balls going into the box. And I think that Gillespie is a good enough backup, especially against, like, it's Sheffield Wednesday. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not exactly. That's the first game back, I think.
Yeah,
I'm
it is. Yeah.
now. So, like, that's a good team to test that against and just go, right, can we just go full on attacking and see what happens? It's also at home. You've got 3 centre backs on then. You've got Ramsey, Gillespie, and Jones. That's 3 centre backs. That's more than enough. Abter was doing a decent job. Like, I know he wasn't the most offensive, but Ramsey was sort of backing him up. He'll have Gillespie backing him up now, unless Bell comes back. If Bell's back, then I don't think you need. I think you drop Gillespie out as well and just have it the 3 that we had at the beginning of the season, and just see like what Kelman can do working off of Leeburn, because by the looks of it, you'll probably know more about Kelman than me, but he likes balls in behind that he can run onto or go one-on-one with his man. I don't know how good he is. I've not seen much of him in terms of doing that Godden role of the ball coming into, say, Leeburn to win the knockdown. Is he that kind of poacher, do you think?
I'm not sure. I mean, the way we've been playing with Kelman is a bit confusing because we've been mainly punting balls long at him when we should really be playing those balls in behind, because that's how we scored so many goals at Orient. They fed him the ball, and that's how we got the goals. You know, they had Jamie Donnelly behind him, and he's just feeding him goals for fun, and he was just scoring them. So I think it's clear how we can get the best out of Kelman. And you mentioned the Godden comparison. I mean, the fact Godden's there next to him and Kelman sees him as like a sort of an inspiration and an idol, so to speak, that could be helping him out massively to play that sort of role. So it's a weird one. I mean, really, we just have to work out how to get him the ball in this team. And at the minute, I don't think we're really doing it. And the strike partnership that he's with doesn't help either, because he's just isolated. He's just left isolated because Campbell drifts wide. That leaves Kelman playing central, and we're whipping balls into the box into him sometimes. And that's not his game. You know, we should really be playing the ball across the floor, and we do that to Leeburn and Tanto, which is weird because we should be doing it the other way around. The long ball should be going to Leeburn and Tanto, but yeah, I don't know. It's strange with Kelman, but I mean, he's been playing well. That's the thing. He has been playing well the last few games. He's just missing that goal, and it's clear that, you know, that ball in behind and him being able to take on players, maybe less so with one-on-ones, because I think he had a few one-on-ones against Preston and Derby, and I wasn't too convinced with his ability being able to do that. But if you stick a ball in behind him and he's got the pace to do it, he's fast. He's got the press as well. Like, it's clear that if he gets in the right place at the right time, hopefully he'll hit the back of the net.
I made some notes during the game, things I wanted to talk to you about. The first one was I really, really, really loved the Preston sponsor on the shirt. It's really good, isn't it? I just really liked it. Let me see if I can get it up. I just think it looked really cool.
Spud Bros, isn't it? The Preston kit, it just sticks out because it's such a basic, like, plain white football top, and then you just got Spud Bros right in the middle of the shirt.
It reminded me of might be before your time, but Portsmouth used to be sponsored by Chubba Chumps and Teeny Babies, these little teddy things, and it just stood out as being quite a fun thing. I just couldn't stop. I was like, every time I saw him, I was like, oh, I don't mind that shirt at all.
Something a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, I really liked it. The other thing, so that was the main thing that I jumped out. So I was like, I have to tell Tyler about this. The other thing was the bit more serious. So the argument against Jones, for me, the biggest argument, I was watching the game and I was going, we've played this system every game. It's 3-5-2 or 5-3-2, whatever you want to call it. He never seems to adapt it that much depending on who we're playing. It always seems to be the same thing. Now, I remember Jackson getting so much stick for that when he was there. And it was the same system. It was the same thing. Like, he never adapts it. Jones knows what he's doing. I think he's got a lot more experience than Jackson. Like, he's got much better players as well, and he knows how to coach it.
Yeah.
Do you think there needs to be more thought given to change it up based on the opposition we're playing, or do you just go, no, we're Charlton, this is the way we're playing? Because, you know, it's something that's happened a lot in football recently, is that Arteta's getting stick for it, and well, I mean, he changes a bit more, doesn't he? But Pep used to never do it. But Pep now seems like an absolute genius, because he's gone to, let's just play Route 1 football. I'll just get the biggest keeper to boot it to the biggest striker and miss out the midfield completely. After I've gone in and messed up all of football, And like you've got teams like Southampton coming into the Premier League thinking that they need to play around from the back.
Yeah.
Do you think there needs to be more adaptability? I mean, I know he does definitely makes changes during the game, but surely every game, whoever we're playing knows how we're going to play and basically what players they're going to come up against as well.
Yeah, they'll go through that, won't they? They'll obviously pre-plan that in terms of the opposition and how they're going to do it. Like, it's not as if they're going in blind with the system that they're playing. I mean, Jones has been playing this system since he became manager, so he obviously knows the system. The players know the system; they know what to expect from it. So, I think in that sense, maybe adaptability is not necessarily needed because the players, they know what to do when they're called upon. But then again, certain players play a different way. We got a lot of players that play different ways, and I guess in that sense, depending on the opposition, there might be that freedom to adapt depending on who we're playing. For example, if we're playing a physical side, then maybe we'll want someone to get in a bit tighter to the defense and have a physical presence up top to battle with that. That's where someone like TC and Kelman would be limited against the physical side. I'm trying to think who's a physical team we played against. Derby probably was probably the best example, maybe, of a physical defence, and maybe Milton, probably Millwall as well. But that's the issue that we've got at the minute in terms of I don't think Jones will move away from the system and the way that system works. I think that's obvious. I don't think he has. I think the only time he was forced into doing that was when Jones got injured last season and we had to play a back four, and that just didn't work with the group of players that we had. So with the group of players that we had overall, when everyone was fit last season, and even now, the system that we are playing, excuse me, the system that we are playing is working. And I suppose in that sense, adaptability, I guess, isn't really needed. I mean, like I said, the players, they know what system they're playing, they know what to do. But as I said, certain players play a different way. So depending on who we're playing, there could be an opportunity to change it. And perhaps that's something we should be maybe experimenting with, considering after, with the attack having so many problems and with Preston being a bit of a reality check.
I mean, maybe, I think maybe I'm being a bit harsh because you think like he does put Jones, like I've seen him put Jones up front and mix it up that way. Yeah. It just seems like you always know what system we're going to start, and it's great that the players know it. But I remember hearing stories about Kirbishley used to have the under 21 sort of reserves playing the system that the or even just the 11 that weren't starting playing the way the opposition are going to play. And you sort of change it up a bit, but maybe that's just sort of blue sky thinking looking back on it. It's a tricky, and I think, and the nice thing with this is that ultimately it comes down to, in Jones we trust. I know, like, he knows what he's doing. I don't have any doubt for that. And I thought one of the big points, and it was disappointing to see it, but I'm glad we've seen it now, is that Kaminsky does look the real deal, doesn't he? He had a lot more to do in that game. Absolutely. He did really well. I don't think I've heard too many plaudits for him in that game, but I thought, he made some really solid saves and he looked really strong. It makes sense now why Mannion has dropped out for him.
Yeah, I mean, with the last two games especially. I mean, Derby pulled off some unreal saves. Arguably, we could have lost that if it wasn't for him. And then against Preston, arguably it could have been worse. I mean, he pulled off some unreal save before they scored. Like, the ball was straight at him, like pretty much nearly in the 6-yard box. And it was like, how has he kept that out? And I think, the last two games he's shown his quality. But I mean, it's difficult because we didn't really know before those two games whether he was a good keeper. And I suppose that's a good thing, considering that the defence is so solid and he's been keeping the clean sheets. He's not been tested. The attacks haven't been good enough to penetrate the defence. Now that the cracks are beginning to slowly form, Kaminsky has been called into action, and he's done really well. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, people were doubting his ability. I mean, look, he was Luton's best player in the Premier League a few years ago. Like, he was the Championship's best keeper a couple of years back for Blackburn and Luton. Like, he's clearly... He is an upgrade on Mannion and a necessary signing. Mannion does deserve a shot in the Championship because I think he played well towards the back end of last year, and I think he is a good keeper. And I half would like to see him get a shot. But then again, Kaminsky is just, in my view, another level above him and a necessary one as well. We needed to bring in that a bit of quality in between the sticks, and we've got that now. And Kaminsky is finally starting to show it. I mean, hopefully it will go back to him not being tested and the defence is strong enough again, because that's ultimately what we want. But yeah, it's good to know that we have got a keeper that's good enough to, make the stops when he is called upon.
It was a big one, wasn't it? And for me, one of the biggest losses this year was against Cambridge, because I think as soon as like third, fourth game happened, maybe the third game, we realised we weren't going to go down. Like, I don't want to jinx it now, obviously, but I think we look to. I was thinking more we might get top 10, like I said to you last week, rather than getting relegated. So for me, the losing those coming out of the cup is such a big loss, because when are we going to get a chance to play these players? Like, it's just not going to happen. You know, we might get a couple of games in the FA Cup if we're lucky, but I just can't see it happening. And for me, it would almost been like the league is always the priority, 100%. But maybe we should have prioritised the lower cups a bit more this year, just because to give us something to watch, because it could very quickly become just a mid-table season, and we could be safe with like quite a few games to go and not really be looking like we're challenging the playoffs. So I feel like that was a massive loss coming out of the cup. To think that we've got players, it's got so many players out on loan. We've still got such a big squad of a lot of players that still aren't getting minutes. Like that, when are they going to get their chance to show themselves? I just can't see it this year.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you look at certain players. I mean, even some players that we've signed, like for example, Joe Rankin Costello at the minute, we can't really see him getting any sort of minutes. Even Karoy, you know, his minutes have been limited this year with how good the midfield's been. So it's I think there was an opportunity with the cup. I do agree to give some players some minutes and a chance to prove themselves and to break into the team. Like Fuller, for example, was excellent in the Carabao Cup, and he was a player that was on the fringes until Hernandez signed recently. So now he's kind of taken his spot in the team. So I think the FA Cup is an opportunity, but obviously we come in the third round proper. So it's like, who are we going to get in the third round when all the big boys come in? We could get thrown straight into a big tie and suddenly we're out again. So it's like, when are they going to get that chance? I suppose, I mean, it's roundabout now where the winter period where fatigue and injuries start to kick in, which we hope we won't have too many of, because the last time we was in the Championship, that's what completely screwed us and that's how we went down. We don't want that, but that's what's going to happen. That's football. That's the Championship. It's going to happen with, all the fixtures coming thick and fast. So that's where the players are going to get called upon and that's where the chances are going to come. But if we can keep ourselves fully fit, which is what we did for the most part last season, then you're going to struggle to see the likes of, Gillespie typically wasn't starting when Edwards was fit. Do you know what I mean? And then, where they're going to get back in, and the likes of, Zach Mitchell, who's still at the club. No, sorry, Zach's gone alone, isn't he now? The likes of Fuller, Rankin Costello, Anderson, those players, are they actually going to get a look in the team? And Andes as well was only recently just signed.
I didn't even realise Berry came on.
That was a weird one.
10 minutes to go. I don't know if he was thinking maybe if there's a half chance if Berry gets it from outside the box, he could do something. But I didn't even realise they came on. I completely missed that. That was they were my main thoughts from the game. I think in terms of bigger picture, there was a couple of interesting things came up. I wanted to show you a few of them that I found online, if I can find them in my little. Do you know what? When we actually start doing this live, this is either going to make this so much easier or it's going to be an absolute fucking nightmare, because I can't even do it when they're all in front of me. Right, here we go. So these things come up all the time, right? These little tier maker things, right? I always ignore them. They're always bollocks. But this one really interested me because this is ranking. This is someone, I have no idea who they are, ranking teams based on their fan base and history. And there we are, top of the tree. Never seen us in top of any of these before, but we're in the top god tier, whatever you want to call it. Premier League is what they're calling it. But so I was delighted to see that. I was like, right, that's quality. That I love that. That's we have got a good history. My big controversial thought, and it could get me taken down from the internet altogether. And next time I'm at the Valley, just have someone come and knock me out. I can't see how Palace are in the Championship. They've just won the FA Cup. Yeah. They've, culturally, I've got a lot of Palace mates, and I've obviously get in the WhatsApp groups and stuff. They're always talking about it. But I remember even this year, they look incredible. And I'm on a Charlton channel saying this, but so I want you to tell me to fuck off and just say, let's just stop talking about it. But my first question is, how much do you agree with this? And secondly, Palace, even the Zaha Balassi team, them coming up, and now they've won an FA Cup. Could you yourself put them in the top tier based on what these parameters seem to be?
I mean, there's probably an argument for it. To be fair, I mean, there's That's
the most
thing
political answer you could have given. Well done, mate.
There's an
appreciate
argument.
that.
Yeah. I mean, you have got to be realistic. I mean, if we're comparing Charlton and Palace, I mean, recent history, yeah, they trump us because they've been in the Premier League for God knows how long, and we've been struggling in League One. So in that respect, probably you could make an argument to reverse them and put Palace at the top and to bring us down. But then again, I mean, you look at, what saves us, I think, is history from the past. FA Cup winners up until Palace won it last year. We were the only team in South London to have done it. So I think previous history for us is massively on our side because Charlton are a big club. Let's be honest, we are a big club.
And when you look at it a bit closer, like I didn't see Villa were down there in the Championship. I mean, they've won the Champions League.
Yeah, exactly. That's wrong.
Ridiculous.
Villa should be.
Leicester have won the Premier League. Like it is mental. So I guess what we're saying is that although Charlton are top up there, it's probably bollocks. Probably just ignore it.
Probably.
Carry on, ignore it.
I mean, I think Championship, to be honest, is fair enough. To be fair, because that's probably the sort of stat. I mean, Charlton are a big club, but then I'm seeing us there compared to the likes of Chelsea, City, United, Arsenal. Like we're not that sort of level, are we? Really? If you think about it, we're nowhere near. Not even really. We're nowhere near that sort of level.
I mean, the thing is that like we've had time, and there'll be people fucking going mental on the stream now. I can't wait to see what the below comments are going to say this week. Got slated last week for saying that Lee, like I don't even remember slagging off Lieberman, but someone said that we were having a go at him. But for us to be like we signed a Ballon d'Or winner in the 80s. We've won an FA Cup. We had arguably the best team around the Second World War. We've got one of the biggest stadiums, like in terms of London, like we've got a bigger stadium than Millwall, Palace. Like we've got a massive, like there's a really rich history there.
Yeah.
But like, so have Ipswich and Villa, like I said, won Champions League. And like, it just, it really threw me. So yeah, okay, we'll ignore that one. The other one I wanted to show you, just move on for that. Just want to see all those hateful comments coming below, rile up a few people.
They're always so hard to justify, those tier makers. It's really hard. You've got to think like all of those teams, so many clubs to put in there, and most of them are always, if not all of them, are always wrong.
It's clickbait, isn't it? It's clickbait.
You're trying to rile up fan bases, isn't you?
I've fallen for it, hook, line, and sinker. There we go. Another one I wanted to do was there was this. They released all of the wages for the league for the Championship, and I wanted to ask you. I think I told you last week. You've probably seen it, but I'm going to give you this one. So this is number 3. If it lets me put it in, there we go. So that's number 3. Ipswich Town, 28 million. Where do you think we are? And if you know that already, what do you think we're spending on wages?
So I was going to say this is wages.
I'll show you the top 3. So can you guess who number 2 is?
I'm going to guess. I reckon Birmingham will be second.
Birmingham, okay, an interesting guess. What's that based on? Just the amount of signings they made.
More the money that they've been spending. Thinking about it now, it's probably someone like Southampton, considering that they were ex-Premier League, weren't they? That'd be my.
Let me see. Hang on. Oh, that would have been so good. I timed that perfectly, and it's not done it now. There you go.
There you go. It's Southampton.
I have to take your first answer, though, mate. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
And then, can you guess number 1?
That'd be Leicester, probably. I reckon.
Right,
should be Leicester. I'd be surprised.
Yeah. Well, Harry Winks is on 90 grand a week.
Yeah, that's a joke.
It's mental, isn't it? There was that point where he looked like he was going to be the new starting centre midfielder for England, didn't he? Like he played one game there, and it looked like wow, like he's got a lot about him. But that 42 million or 43 million they're spending on their play, like, and when you if we just go back to the league, well, no, I can't now. But when you saw them in the league, none of them are like mentally getting like well out of. They're not. None of them are running away with it, are they? Like Leicester, like we said, we should have beaten Leicester.
Yeah.
Where are they? Let's see. So
Leicester, Ipswich in 9th, Leicester in the playoffs, and then Southampton are like what? They're below us. So
Yeah, mad, isn't it? So based on that, where do you think we are? What do you reckon our wages are, and what do you reckon we're spending?
I reckon we're going to be quite low. I think we'll be down towards the bottom somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if we are bottom, to be honest. But I'll go. I don't know. Depending on some of the other teams in the league, I'll hazard a guess, and I'll go. I reckon we're 20. I reckon we're 23rd, and we're spending 6 to 7 million. I reckon on wages, perhaps. That'd be my guess.
So more than you thought, and lower than we thought. Yeah. So we're bottom. What does that make? So for me, I'm quite proud of that. I think that's great, because I remember when we went up to the Premiership under the curbs the first time, we had the smallest squad and we were spending the lowest on wages.
Yeah.
And it feels like that's what Jones is trying to do. He's got hungry players in, and obviously because they're hungry, they're coming from lower leagues or maybe weren't quite wanted at their championship clubs. They had something to prove, which is what Bowyer did as well. He had a lot of players in that team that had something to prove. And you get a lot more, you get more for your money in that way. Whereas all those clubs coming down from the Premier League, like, you've got players sat there on ridiculous wages that, you know, how can you possibly maintain it? I guess it makes sense why they have the parachute payments. But yeah, how do you feel? How do you feel about that?
I mean, not surprised, not surprising. I mean, we just got, come up from League One, going to have one of the smallest budgets in the league. I mean, I know Birmingham and Wrexham, they're probably spending much higher than us because they got multi-millionaire owners that are willing to splash the cash. I mean, that's not to say our owners aren't willing to splash because we spent 10 million, but I think it's, as you say, there's a similar sort of situation to the Premier League eras in that we had one of the smallest squads and the smallest wages, but it's a thing to be proud of because we're overachieving in that sense. We've got, as you said there, we've got the hungry players that are coming up from the lower leagues that want to prove themselves. They're not on massive wages, so to speak. I mean, they're on good money in the Championship, of course. I mean, 9 million on wages is very high for that is quite high, especially for football. But I think we've got the hungry players. We're achieving at the minute. We're competing with the big boys that are on like mega money, and that's all they seem to be sort of focused on. They're waiting for those sort of big money moves, aren't they? But I think that's something to be proud of, to be honest, with the way we've been going at the minute.
I think what it shows is that Jones has got it right. Like, he's getting the tune out of players and he's paying them less than any other club in the league. It says to me as well, like, there can't be too much dick swinging going on. Like, there's not a lot of people in there going, "Oh, I'm getting 10 grand more than this guy. He's earning more than me." Like, he's got the humble blokes in there that want to win football matches, and I think that's really hard to find now. I think that's probably what's missing from the top tier of football. Ultimately, the other thing it says is there's probably something massively wrong with football, and the wages are too ridiculous. The fact that the lowest paid team in the Championship is still nearly a 10 million quid. I just found that really interesting, and like you said, I think it was something to be proud of. All right, we're sort of running out of time. I don't know how quick. I've made a game for you, Tyler. I think it's going to be a bit educational, and it should be interesting. This is called this is the one word game. And I say one word, it's got to be short answer. So it could be one word. One word would be ideal. I've had to think about what I think you would say. And basically what I'm going to do is show you a picture, and I want you to give me one word. And this week's category, if it lasts, we'll keep it going. This week's category is Charlton managers. And one of the stats I found so amazing about Charlton is that, because I always think of Kerbishley as being sort of like the start of the club, because that was when I started watching. But since 1905, when Charlton was formed, we've had more managers since Kerbishley took over than we had before him. I always find that mental, but maybe because you weren't born yet, it's not as interesting to you. So what we do is give me one word. It's interesting, isn't it? It is interesting. Thank you. Thank you very much. That is. So what we do, when I'm just going to show you a picture, and I want you to just give me your one word, what's in your heart, and I've had to think about what you might say, a sort of guess, and I'll give you mine as well. Okay. Do you want me to give you mine first?
Yeah, can do.
So I was going to say God after the Blackburn game. I was going to say, like, look at Nathan Jones, just think God, absolutely 100%. This is not a good picture of him either. But then I thought, no, he can't say God. That's ridiculous. But then I thought maybe, like, what's a slight downgrade? Maybe it's Moses. Maybe he's just taking us out of taking us to the promised land, and he's leading us like he led the Egyptians out. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know enough about. So Moses, I'm going to go for Moses for Jones. What would you go for?
I feel like you've helped me with this one, but I'll go Messiah. I think that he's just the manager that we've been calling for, isn't it? It's just the man to get us out of this rut, and now we're here. So I think Messiah's fair enough for Jones.
I agree, and I do agree you're cheating a little bit as well, but no, that's fine. I'll take that one. Okay, next one. Here we go. Come on.
Oh my God, imposter.
How did he get the job?
Exactly.
How did he get the job?
Exactly. I don't know how he's still in management, to be honest. I feel bad for Shrewsbury, honestly.
Yeah, he's there right now. 2 wins, isn't it?
Yeah, that is awful.
I thought you'd go for something like that. I think I had Liar down. I think the biggest one for me is that he said that anyone who runs around on the line and acts like they're really animated is lying. And I was like, no, you just don't get it at all.
Exactly.
So imposter. Okay, we'll go imposter. I like that one. Okay. Next one. And so I've got all the managers in order, but I think what I might do is start mixing it up a bit. Might go for a couple of different ones. Let's go for this guy.
All right.
So I'll put a hand on heart. I wasn't as invested under Russell Slade.
I don't think anyone was.
For me, that guy looks like the Fat Controller. That's all I'm going to say from Thomas Tank Engine.
Oh my God. I'm trying to, how do I describe him? Jesus. Probably uninspiring. It's probably, I would go with that. Yeah. Because I think when we appointed him, I think because he had done quite well. I think he was at Orient, and then he went to Cardiff and was doing quite well in the Championship, if I remember correctly. And then when we got him, we was like, that's a pretty good appointment, a pretty good statement for League One. And his football was just so boring. Like, it was just, oh my God. I mean, the team we had didn't help. The squad was awful, but I remember him, being stubborn with, I remember a 4-2-3-1. He was playing Ademola Lookman as a 10, which just completely, just summed things up really. But yeah, he was, did not work at all. Shocking.
Okay. So what's the word you're going to go for?
Uninspiring.
Uninspiring. Good word. To be fair. Okay. Another bald man.
Oh, Bob Peters. Don't really.
No strong feelings at all.
There. just there. I think. Yeah. I don't think. Yeah, he was. I remember him drawing quite a lot of games. From when we had him, he wasn't exactly. I think he kept us up. I think. What was it? 23, 24. I think he kept us up then, and then, or was it the other way around? I don't remember. I don't know. He was just there. That was just when we were mid-table, stuck in the Championship somewhere, not really looking like we were going anywhere. So yeah, and he was ex-Millwall, so that's probably another down point.
Help, does it?
Nope.
All right, okay. Let's go for this guy. Oh. I've just got a sound for this one, so I need you go for your word.
Got a sound.
Just got a sound.
Oh, Nigel Adkins. Oh my God.
I'll give you my sound first of all.
Go on.
Aww. Like, he was so sweet, wasn't he? Doing these little videos every morning, and he's like, Mr. Positive. I really wanted it to work for him. And he even said, like, it's not a 4-4-2, it's a 1-4-4-2, because we've got a keeper as well. All right, so let's get that in there. It's like, oh, bless you, mate. Like, because he was a keeper, wasn't he? He was like, why don't we get included in the bloody formation? I'm there as well. I just felt a bit like sorry for him in the end that it just didn't work out.
Yeah, it was a shame. I mean, I love these videos. I don't know why. Yeah, I mean, he obviously couldn't keep it going because he was getting pelters, wasn't he, from the fans. I'd go expired. I think he, because he spent quite a while out of the game before he come to us. It was clear that when it ultimately it was clear that his time away from the game sort of cost him a bit. So yeah, probably it wasn't the right time. It wasn't the time at all for him to come back. His time in management was done for me before he come here.
Bless him. All right, I'll tell you what, should we do one more and then wrap it up?
Yeah.
So I've got a few more for next week then as well. I don't know whether to be okay. Go for
legend. Easy. That's easy.
Yeah, legend's a lovely word. Mine's a bit weird. I think I'd go for daddy. I can't explain it, right? I think I said it to you when we did your Charlton Fantasy 11. He came into the club when he took over on his own. I was 4, right? And he left when I was about 19. So my whole football life until I sort of went off to uni, I just had Kirbyshe was just there, and he was just in charge of my favourite thing. It was like a father figure, and he sort of the way he carried himself and the team. Also, it's kind of like if I was coming in now to Charlton, that's what I want kids to think Charlton is. I want kids to think that Charlton is working hard, winning the ball back, honest football, and that's what Kirbyshe did. He had a lot of honest players in his team, no big egos. Actually, when the big egos came in, that's when we got ourselves in trouble. He was just like lovely, and even now you watch him on the they do the monthly show, don't they? It still feels like he's sort of the daddy of the club.
Yeah,
yeah. Love that guy.
Love him.
Anyway,
I wish I could have seen him, to be honest. I wish I could have seen Curbs as manager. I missed
you missed some great stuff. His interviews on Match of the Day as well. Like he never did anything that was gonna like. He was never like going to hit anyone or get too upset with anyone. But it's just always so. It was just nice to see little Charlton being represented on telly and him giving a good account of us as well.
Yeah,
just love that guy so much.
Yeah.
All right, lovely. So as mentioned, we had a couple of interesting comments. I'll just throw them up over the last couple of videos. Let's see. I've got a couple from the first one. So. Yeah, people loving what we're laying down. Basically, they're picking up what we're putting down, mate. It feels like it's been a bit of a success. Someone saying they completely agree that we've got it right with the vibe, and the big difference between this team and the last team when we went up to the Championship is the depth of squad. I think I think that's the biggest difference, really, because like you said last week, the first 11 that we actually put out wasn't a bad team by any means, especially when you had Gallagher in there. But it's just you took out 2 or 3 of those players, and suddenly we just didn't have anything. Whereas it does feel like now we've got the squad that's going to cope with it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and again, this is nice, isn't it? It feels like the club are back. Yeah, I think that. How do you? Because obviously you were there, you were going every game under Powell, under Bo. You're going home in some away games and stuff as well. How do you feel about it at the moment?
I mean, but back in those days, even under Bo, I mean, it felt good because the team was, connected with the fans again. But because the problem with that was under Bo, we had the Châtelet and ESI, who the ownership was just so disjointed that it just didn't feel like a whole one connected club as a whole. Whereas now we've got that. Jones has connected the team. He's got the fans back on board, and we've got an ownership that is willing to back him. We've never heard from him, which is good, which is a good thing. They're willing to run the club properly. Things are improving. The match day experience is improving, and the audiences are coming back. So yeah, it does feel like a proper club again, and I'm really happy with it.
How much of that do you put down to Gavin Carter? Because for me, having him there on the board, speaking to him directly, is great. And it's actually someone that's representing Charlton. The one thing that I really struggle with, and I can't get my head around, is what they're getting out of it. Because we're still losing money. The club is still, like, if you look at the spreadsheet, like the balance sheet at the end of the year, we're still losing money. We're just not losing anywhere near as much as we were because we're fixing it. So what I find hard to work out is what do they get out of it? Do you know what I mean?
Well, the problem is football is it's very rare for football clubs, for football owners to make a profit on football because it is a business where you lose a lot of money. That's the reality of it. I think it's very rare. Like you're talking like the ultra rich clubs, United's Arsenal, because they're selling the merchandise sales. They're a global brand, which is not what Charlton are. We're just we're a local club in South London. So it's good that they're cutting back losses and that, and we're starting to make a bit more money on match days and that. And we're starting to grow the fan base a little bit, but ultimately, the ownership will probably know full well that the only way they're going to get any money out of it is if they grow Charlton into that sort of global brand, which I suppose maybe that's what they're working towards.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened, hasn't it? I mean, you just wonder how long that will last because, I mean, maybe everyone in America wants to have a championship side to support, but there aren't going to be many left, are there, after a while? It seems like they're all getting taken up pretty quick. So thanks for that, Ian. This is from Christopher. I really like this one, actually. As an Ipswich fan, I never bought into the bookies' pre-season predictions for Charlton being a nice club, team ethic, and on a good run of bounce from a bit like us from a couple of years ago and Sunderland the year before that. No way Charlton will go down, and they will be, as I predict, mid-table come the end of the season at least. So that sounds like someone who's actually paying attention, whereas I think in the beginning we were getting a lot of people coming being a bit surprised by us, but it sounds like Christopher knows his onions.
They know what to expect now from us. That we know that from the first few games that we're not to be taken for mugs. So it's good to see that other fan bases are starting to recognise that, which is good.
It's good, isn't it? It's always nice to hear it from an outside fan as well, because you're like,
definitely,
all right, brilliant. That's actually, it's getting through. But there is part of me that's like, there's a lot of strength in being the sort of the underdog as well.
Yeah.
And I think we do well. And I think Jones likes that as well. I think Jones wants to be the underdog. I think he thrives off of everyone being against him. And he uses that in the dressing room. Do you know what I mean? And actually uses that to inspire his players to, like, you know what, we're going to show them and we're going to really show them up today. Right. There was a couple of others. Let me get out. How long we got left? I think we've got a couple of minutes left. Was there any big ones that you saw? I mean, the one that I saw about Lieber, let me see if I can find it. No, that was David just saying, yeah, we just don't go for the start. That was against that was a game for Blackburn, wasn't it? Where
that was Derby, yeah.
And I think it, but it kind of, that thing about we just didn't go for the killer blow, that just seems to be going like an ongoing thing. And I think we've spoken about that, where Tanto seems to have more focus on his attack, whereas with, again, at the weekend against Preston, I just didn't really see Campbell going for goal that much. The best chance he had was when it was slid across, and it was sort of like Euro 96, where Gascoigne just missed that ball. He's a little bit further back than that, but that was sort of the best chance I think Campbell had. He didn't really do anything other than that, really, unless I'm misremembering it.
And that's the problem we've got at the minute, isn't it? Trying to get the best out of him and trying to. End product's always been a problem with TC. So, but yeah, the killer edge, he's completely agree. That's what we've lacked for most of the forward line all season, to be honest.
It will be interesting to see if he mix it up in that first game back.
It needs to happen.
If he doesn't, I don't know. I don't know what he's seeing that we aren't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's his decision. I mean, he trusts those players, but I mean, I just don't see how we can look at that 9 games into a season and those forwards haven't scored. It's like something surely got to change.
Yeah, I can't find the rest. We'll go through them on the next one. So please like and subscribe. Please send in more questions. Anything that you want Tyler to answer. He's back. Let's make the most of him. We don't know how long we've got him for. He could be driving off to some Formula One gig. How is the Formula One stuff? You got anything? What are the big ones coming up?
Well, we just had a race in Singapore, which was a pretty naff race, to be fair. But we got 6 races to go. Championship fight between the McLarens should be interesting. As a McLaren fan, I'm loving it, but we make it quite difficult for ourselves at the minute, the way we're dealing with it. So yeah, it should be an interesting fight towards the end for the final 6 races.
And I don't know whether we're going to do a show over the international break, but it might be a good chance for us to try and sort out what we're going to do with this, taking this live. So, like I said, if we get a load of questions in on the videos, we might do an episode where we just do that and maybe play another game, because I think it was a bit of fun, wasn't it? A little bit of fun.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, something different. Yeah, nice.
Maybe I'll just do another load of videos and see if I can get you to laugh that way. All right, lovely stuff, guys. Thank you so much. Like I say, like and subscribe. Any questions in the comments, and we will see you next time.
Take care, guys.